Just trying to get my destiny used to it. Hello, everyone. Hope you're well. Good afternoon. Good afternoon. Good afternoon. Hope your day has been going fine. Depending on your time, it's 4 o'clock here. I think Nigerian people, their time should be, I think, around 5. So it's evening to them. So good evening. Depending on where you're watching from as well. Okay, welcome to the channel. I know I did not I didn't send the schedule for this live. I just thought I should quickly do something before, instead of editing after recording. So I just want to touch on the point Mrs. Patience Ozokwor, don't let me mispronounce the name. Patience did. She's a Nollywood actress. She used to. I think she still had to once in a while, depending on when the role they think she can fit in. So she did just discuss with Mercy Johnson during cooking menu, and usually Mercy will throw one or two questions in to obviously make the conversation and the cooking going well, and also for people to learn. So Mercy threw in a question about marriage, why she did not remarry, and also about infidelity. And she's a very wise woman. So we got some point there. I just want to react to it, what she said so far in the two questions that I found something to discuss with, and how people can obviously relate to it. So I'm just going to play a short clip of the video. So I got the video from Mercy Johnson's cooking menu. So credit to Mercy Johnson.
To taste, I want to ask one question. Infidelity in marriage, is that a deal breaker? Would you advise anyone to leave if there's infidelity?
Me, I'm not going to leave my house for anybody. You are the visitor that came in.
Would you advise anyone to leave?
Not the one just to play yet. This is the second.
Sorry to bring this up. You are a mom, you're married, lost your husband. How was that like? Plus, why did you not remarry? I'll tell you why. Because you have too many women, particularly online, asking, they said, I can't do this, I can't do that, it's a taboo, I have to remain this way. Was that a personal decision? And if you wanted to, would you have, and why didn't you?
I actually wanted to remarry, but it was too late because my children were already grown, and they pleaded with me and said, we know why you want to remarry, but we want to ask you to please stay for us. We're going to be your husband that will take good care of you, because we are all grown, so that our friends will not laugh at us at our age our mother had to go and marry. It looked like they were selfish, but I understood why they did it, and it worked fine for me, and I decided not to remarry.
That's a huge sacrifice.
Yes. There's no sacrifice too huge for the family.
I'm taking one line that there's no sacrifice too huge for a family. There's no sacrifice.
Family is the thing, yeah.
For a family. Okay, so it's time for us to cook now. So like I said, Mama is a very good cook.
Okay, so I just want to touch on that. There is no sacrifice that is too huge for the family. Yes, there is no sacrifice, but there are some that you would need to put yourself first. let's be realistic here. There's some sacrifice that you would need to weigh. You need to weigh them. You need to reassess. When you put, it's like when you have a huge load or something in front of you, and you take a 2-3 step back and you check, you reassess if you're able to lift that thing, if it's going to affect your back or not. You will know if it's something you can do. Why some people will use their, would I say, they will use their foot to hit the object, whatever, to see if it's something that is quite heavy. So we need to do to check that. I mean, there is no superhero in all these things. I know when our parents were growing up, when we were growing up, the way our parents handle things, some of them is because they do not have any options. How their parents will tell them, once you're married, you can't come back home, ile oko ni ile oko, all those kind of thing. But the world we are in now, people are more civilized, if that's the word I should actually use. That people are more civilized, so they can people are working as well, so some can pay their bills. So let's start from that. Depending on the person's age, if they are still very young, not all of them will be able to do what Madam Patient did. As people will say, body no be firewood. Some can't really resist even staying for months, while some can go on for years. And you never can tell the life, um, when life is dealing with people, some people can't really stand it. They can't cope with it for a long time because different I don't want to use the word misfortune, different things that hit them will make them to change their mind on what decision they wanted to take initially. Everyone wants to try and say, you know what, I say I might not want to remarry, I can. But the first thing is, if you're financially stable, if that woman is working, if that man is also working, because it doesn't apply to only the women, but most of the topic, most of this thing based on the woman. If the woman is working or if the man is working, then aside from working, if they are financially stable, they can look after themselves. And if they have children, they have actually now become a single mom or a single dad. Some were separated, some is not because their husband passed on or their wife passed on. Some it was because they were separated, something happened, accident, different things that happened that make people to, they remain single. So finance is the first point that people have to look at. You can't just verbally say like, oh, I don't want to remarry. But when life start dealing with them, they have bills to pay, they are lonely, maybe if they're not financially stable, maybe they're staying with friends or family, and they start noticing things that they're not able to cope with. They'll start thinking of how they want to live alone. So after trying to scotch with few friends and family, and they feel, or those people need their space, because in one way or the other there will be a time where they will need their space. So they will need to want to be alone. If they have children as well, would their children be a burden if they are putting their children's burden on other people's children, burden? It gets to a state where they will feel overweight and they will react. People they are living with or people they are giving those burden to, they will react in a negative way that this person won't like. So financial stability is very important for you to have said to, for someone to say, oh, I don't want to remarry. Then you need to know, do you think you can train yourself to stay away from bedmating people, your opposite person? Do you think you can abstain? Can you abstain for years without having to? This abstinence is about, so this one is based on maybe Christianity, but what about people that are not Christian, that they don't believe in? Did they just feel, okay, do you think you can cope without a man in your life? Or some think, oh, they don't need to remarry, they can have man friend or boyfriend or woman friend, and they keep up with their life. Depending on what you know, you can actually, so you can't just say you can't remarry just because Madam Patient was able to go through it. When this, I don't know when her husband actually passed on. What, and she was busy. Maybe she was also busy with filming, movie and all that. If that keeps her busy, she might not really have that that much vacuum in her life that she felt there is no need for me to. So when our children told her not to remarry, that they will feel somehow when people start maybe throwing words at them that their mom, because there's no how you remarry. Even if you remarry a pastor, there will be one person or the other that will want to say throw negative words at them, or to even the pastor or whatever themselves. So they will have to know how they want to cope with this. So the children were wise enough that they want to eliminate that, and she agreed with them. Maybe based on the fact that she's not the type that really like wine. Some don't like it, no much as me. So so she feels she can be able to cope. And considering her age, some will consider their age that what exactly do I even need this thing for? I don't really need this much. So considering the financial stability determines, your age determines. Two, how do you socialize? People that socialize a lot, do you think if you don't socialize that much, do you think it's going to tell on you? Because initially you might think you'll be fine, but after a while you start noticing that everything you're doing, you're recycling them, you get bored of it. So loneliness might set in, and during this loneliness, sometimes they become vulnerable. That even some people that will come to them before that, or people that would not have the audacity to come to them, or for them to give that audience to, they will give audience to that person and start dating them just because they are lonely. Some are dating people. It's not because they're actually really in love. They are not really in with the person, but they, because of the loneliness. So some of them will go in because they are lonely. So they just want someone to, talk to, take them out, who they can socialize with. So everything is not about money. If they go out to socialize, they don't have to be the other party doesn't have to be the one to pay. Everyone can pay for whatever they eat, or the other one can pay. She can pay as well. He can pay. So loneliness could be part of it. These are the things to reassess, to check that would you be okay. Number one is financial stability, like I said. So no one is throwing you anyhow, and no man will be able to throw you anyhow. You are not taking your own burden, especially when you have children, and put everything on the other man's, whoever is your friend. Because in as much as they're trying to be, they're trying to be, single. They don't want to remarry. They do have male friends, female friends that can help them once in a while. But when it's too much, people will start giving space, because they also have other things that they need to attend to. So I've talked about finance, I've talked about age, and I've talked about the loneliness. Madam Patient, I don't, like I said, I don't know when her husband passed on. And also I think maybe she was also busy after a while with movie industry, and all that. So that kept her busy. Her children are grown. Most of them, I think most of them, or all of them, are abroad. So she's able to go around to go and see her. And some people, because they are single, they some people actually like the single life. They want to remain single because they don't want anyone to talk to them anyhow. They don't want anyone to boss them around. Some are also can cope with it without being remarried, because whatever they have gone through with their previous marriage, either the man passed on or they separated, whatever they've gone through, they don't want to go through that same thing with their with another man anymore. So they rather remain single. If you just joined me, thank you. I didn't schedule this. I just felt I should quickly deal with it and not start editing. And so I don't know, just if you just join me, thank you for joining me. So, like I was saying, so loneliness, being single, some people prefer to be single because they don't want to be they don't want to be under control. They don't want to be asked what time are you going now? What time are you coming in? You didn't tell me this. They don't want to be controlled. They want to be the boss of the house. So as a single man, some people like it that way. They don't want anyone to control them. Some single ladies to want it that way. Why? Is please get it straight. I am not saying single women or single people are loose. No, I'm just saying some don't really want to remarry because of the previous experience they have with their ex. Why some will also be able to cope with being not remarried because they have children, they have other maybe they have their friends' children that come around, people that like children. They are so surrounded with children, they are so busy. So their hands are busy. They do not have that time, that room to miss anything. So that vacuum is not that open to them, so they are able to cope. So I'm just saying that with Madam Patience, she has grandchildren which she can actually run around with. She can be busy with them, take them to school, do any other things. The movie industry is there, so you can imagine people that are not that busy. What would they do with their life? These are the things that they need to reconsider. Did they actually feel they can stay without remarrying? If they can, fine, but they just need to list these points and reassess them if it's something they can cope with. Some can actually adopt if they are financially stable. They can adopt children and still keep them busy in the house. They will adopt children that they know that their parents are actually even struggling as well. You know, send them to school. Some of them live with them. You know, the house is always busy. They won't even know that they are really not, they won't really miss that. Maybe they don't have a life partner anymore. Once in a while, of course, when they're in bed they will know. But you know what, some people will say when you're abroad and it's really cold, that you get to a stage where you start feeling what you want someone to warm you up. You can buy electric blanket really and warm yourself, but there will be some time that you really, maybe you want a cuddle. So that is part of why some people will say, you know what, they can't remarry. Like during the lockdowns, a lot of people that are single, because of they can't really see people, they were kind of stuck. They don't know what to do. Why? They resorted to online chatting, with people that they don't know. Some got scammed, and some just start exposing themselves online, and their pictures or whatever video they start going viral. They start blackmailing them for all this. So some people were able to cope because they have grandchildren. Some people will put the interest of their children as the priority, which is what Madam Patience said, that our children said they wanted her to remain to not remarry anymore. And there's no huge sacrifice. There is no huge sacrifice. That there's nothing too huge for the family to sacrifice for you to do for your family. So it's okay by her. It might not be okay by people, but because she did it doesn't mean that everyone has to do it. So you need to reassess. Is it something? Do you think it's still huge? Huge. Some can't even cope. Some can't cope with the first 3 points I mentioned. They're too young. They're not stable financially. I'm not saying you have to marry because the other person is wealthy, so you want to put your burden on them, but you will know you have help, and these are the things you will discuss with maybe your partner, or your partner already know this is what you're going through, and they will know where to come in. And also, would you be able to share your love? This is for those people who already have children, because once you have someone in your life again, remember your children will also want to see the way you and deal with them compared to when the new person join in. So they will be jealous. Would you be able to share that love? Would you be able to cope? Would you be able to share that love and cope with them? No. You can, but you can't do it at 50-50-50. Muslim says they said if they can marry as many as up to maybe 4, as long as they keep as long as they give them equal love. But I don't think that it's possible for them to actually do that. You don't know who is actually so pure. Welcome, Madam Graciousness. Thank you for joining. So some might not be able to cope with sharing their love, but if you think you can, also consider the children. If you're depending on your children's age as well. If their children is too young, it's going to be difficult to mingle. Why some are able to do it, they can multitask, but there is no how it will be perfect. It will get to a state that some children will feel, oh, they don't feel comfortable with the man, or the man feels the lady is spending too much time with with her children rather than also concentrating on their relationship. So this is another point. Would you be able to share your love within between your children and the person you're dating? Part of why some people do not want to remarry, they just feel, you know what, not they don't want to marry. Why some will wait for their children to grow to a stage in life, maybe they've gotten to that stage where they go to uni and they know they will be lonely at home, so they will say, okay, I have time to date and to assess a man, or for the man to assess the woman and say, okay, I can date right now. It will not come in between my children's upbringing or their love. This is part of why some people consider that. Some people also have to check the friends and family because of what the friends and family are saying, are going to say. Some will start counting it for you, madam. It's just few months your husband passed on, or it's still 2 years ago. These are the things that are setting that people will tend to want to check if you're strong enough, because initially you'll be thinking, what will people say? But after a while, you have to make up your mind that you're strong enough to be able to answer them, or you want to ignore them. You might want to give them space. They don't have to know everything, but as this relationship is getting stronger, they will be able to tell by themselves. Some will obviously keep accosting you with those questions. I feel sacrificing for the family is okay, but it depends. Your age, your financial stability, would you be able to cope with the love you have for your children? Would you be able to manage everything and not let the man's because it gets to a stage where a man will start they want to demand for their own love, that like, you need to give me time. When they keep saying you need to give me time, that means you need to now start cutting off the time you're spending with those children. If they are still in school, you're still doing assignment, doing every other things, you won't be able to meet you won't be able to do it 50-50. There will be a time the man will feel neglected, while there will be a time the children will feel neglected. Once the children are feeling neglected, they will go into their shell. They might not even tell you things as such like they used to before. Even if they've seen something that maybe your partner has done to them, they might not want to tell you because they've seen that they could, to them, you've actually shifted your attention, the love you have for them, for the other person. So these are the things I think needs to be considered. If you have a busy life, I think it's quite okay. You'll be able to manage. But if you don't have a busy life, which is part of your, you're financially stable, you can cope with this thing. You feel you will not be lonely. You can socialize well. People go to church. They have department in church. Maybe they're a worker, things that they do, they go to parties. Some people like Owambe, so weekend they are not bored at all. But if they're abroad, some people like Owambe in abroad too, but it's not as much as I think in back home in Nigeria and maybe other country that you're watching from. But yeah, these are the things that some weekend are busy for them. Why during the week is not as busy. So if they're working, even if they're working, depending if they're still under someone, if that person is giving them a tough time, or they are facing some rough time at work, this could also affect why some don't even want to remarry, because what they are concentrating on is the target. Some people that have a target that maybe they've been given a target at work to face, like this, you need to make sure this is done. They will not have time for relationship. Part of why, excuse me, some cannot remarry until a certain stage. But for me, I advise, if you already have children and you are able to, maybe whatever you're doing as a to sustain your life, you can cope with it and also look after your children. I advise that people just stay with their children, train them to a stage where they will be able to now face maybe if they want to have a partner, they'll have time to, or would I say, cope with that person, watch the person. If it's someone that they feel they can marry and they can go on with it, that's it. About the point I felt could be considered before you think of remarriage. If maybe life dealt with you in a negative way, maybe their husband passed on, their wife passed on, or they separated. And I'm going to play the second part of the video where Mercy Johnson asked this question.
Me, I'm not going to leave my house for anybody. Oh. You are the visitor that came in. Find your way out. I will so hold my family, so polish it, and sweep out all the debts, and then have a peaceful home again.
Even when infidelity is constant.
If infidelity is constant, it is the one that is infidel that should go out. I'm not leaving my house for anybody.
All right.
Okay, Madam Gracious, thanks for joining me. I hope you can see me. Sorry, let me just quickly. Gracious. Yeah, so with infidelity, some people were talking about, Madam Patience said she would not leave her home. Some would not want to leave their home, especially if they've really suffered in that marriage, or to maybe they met when they were quite young, they built everything together, they don't want to leave. But one thing I want to say is that of recent, I would say in the past 1 year, the number of you know people that's passed just because of relationship is not working, I want to have my own part, they don't want to, so it's really rampant, it's a lot now. So you need to consider yourself, because the best thing is for you to leave so you can live. Leave, so you can live, live, because if you're being harmed in a way, you will not be able to fight for those properties. I know it's not easy when people have already, invested in the marriage and the home, and another person comes in. And of recent, it seems the single ones are not. They don't care. They don't want. They always want to go into a home that is already built. So should you just walk away? You want to fight, but if you think your life is at risk, please take a walk. Is advisable. Is better you take a walk. Do your conversation when you guys have the space, because if you start fighting over maybe properties or the things that you have in the house, you never can tell. You don't even know who they are using, the other party is using to monitor you. So Madam gracious greatness said, "Lo, as for me, I be man." I greet you. I three ways salute for you. Thank you. Oh, I don't know. I thought you were. I thought it's a lady. Thanks for joining me. God bless you. Okay, so pertaining to what I was saying about infidelity, if you know your husband is actually cheating on you, I think make sure you have evidence. If you know you have a strong feeling, you can have a conversation with them. But please do have a conversation with this person, with your partner, when they are in a good mood. Don't go and ask question when they're in the bad mood, because it will create what you don't expect. You might be fuming yourself and they are fuming. It's not going to work well. Maybe it is during your conversation and you read some body language before you ask question, then you can start piling your this thing, because if they notice you've been asking, some will ask you, why, what did you see? If you want to share with them, share with them. But please, it's not the first. To me, I think it's not the first infidelity that should make a woman to walk away. You never can tell how it happened, but whatever reason they give you might determine if you need to continue to watch them, be careful, and start planning your exit if you want to. Some can cope. Some don't mind if their husband are out there to do whatever with another woman. They don't care as long as they don't bring the person home. But do you also know that it might get to a stage where the other person outside might need to come home. Some are not really planned, but it happens. So they'll have to leave where they are living, but they want to come and join. They want to be the madam of the house as well. So these are my reasons. I think for someone to say they will want to stay and not leave, it depends. It depends on what they've built together, how or some of them will be thinking of what will family say, what will people say, How would I leave all these things I've built or wherever? These are the reason why some had to wait. But like Madam said, that she's the person that did this thing will be the one that will leave, that she's not leaving. It depends on the angle she's looking at it from. The people around right now, they are very wise, and you know what? They can make life uncomfortable for people. But if you sense any abuse, it's better you just start um finding your way out so you can have peace. Else, they would live for years after they've damaged your life. You will be the one regretting. You can't leave everything and saying God sees it, but you might have to suffer some for some years. And you know, when you have the scars, these are the things that you keep remembering that you should have left. Your children will ask you, why did you still stay there? Some will want to stay because they will say because of my children, but you need to consider yourself first, yourself, because if you cannot save yourself, you can't save the children you're actually trying to protect. Well, I think this is well narrated. Please let me know if you have any other points. This is a I actually didn't plan for this. I just saw it. I thought, well, instead of me to record and I start editing before I post it, let me just go live and just do this. This is my first time of actually going live without scheduling it. I hope you are okay with the points I listed so far. Let me know in the comment section below what you think about what Madam Patient has said on Mercy's menu as well. So if you're new here and you like what I'm about, please subscribe, turn on your notification button, and you'll be notified whenever I come live or post a new video. And to my returning subscribers, God bless you. I love you. Thanks for joining me, gracious graceness. And I'll see you in my next video. Do take care. Bye.